Okay, so we're gonna start with a new piece, and I'm gonna try to start with the light areas first. I'm gonna pull out my pencils and sorry, I copied my pattern on a piece of vellum paper, and then I put my pattern on top of the Colourfix, and I put a piece of graphite underneath with the lighter sections to touching my surface, and with a stylus I went over the lines and I transferred my design. And now I'm going to start painting with my color pencils. I'm going to start on the light areas. So I'm going to use cream for that. This is my cream pencil, is 914, and I'm going to sharpen the end that doesn't have the name. This is the end and this is the beginning, so I'm going to sharpen this side. Like my color pencils to have very sharp long points, so that's why I use Panasonic sharpeners. They're only available used on eBay, but they're very good. So now I am going to start coloring, and I'm going to use circular motion. And I'm going to start in the light areas. This line that you have in there, it means that you're going to put light in there up to that line. So I'm going to find the very, very light areas, and I'm going to block my light areas, and I'm going to take a photo for you. I want to blend this light area with the color on top and the color on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that line in here, going up and down, up and down. And if I break that line like that, then when I come with the next color, it's going to blend. Then I have another line in here. You see that line in there? That line, I want it to be very strong line. And I'm going to start from here, and I'm going to make that highlight in there. So I'm going to leave this line like a line in here, but break it at the top. I'm going to block all my highlights first, and I'm checking where I put sections that I needed that light. Let's see here. I believe it is here, like this, in here. And let's find all those areas of light and block those areas of light, and then I'm going to take a photo for you. And then sorry, because this is a very intricate design, so that's why it's going to be hard, because it's intricate, but it's going to be a beginner color pencil piece, but it's very intricate piece. There's a light in there which I'm gonna put with another color because it's not that light. So I'm going to find, because I'm wasting time, I'm gonna find all the light areas, and I'm gonna come back and show you before I continue. Okay, there you are. Those are gonna be the highlights. And the strongest ones are, this one in here is a strong one. I'm giving it a second coat. This one is not as strong. This one in here is very, very strong. I'm gonna have to put that one several times. And this one in here is strong. Remember, we have a background that is black. So your color pencils are transparent, so you are putting very, very fine layers of pencils. And I want to give you some theory about color pencils because this is gonna be a beginner class. So I'm gonna bring some paper that I use in another class for the color pencil club, and I'm gonna give you the same theory I gave them. Okay, the first thing that I told you told them was that there are a lot of P's about pencil. And the first one is that you have to have patience, because color pencil is not something that you can do fast. Because when you go fast is when you get in trouble. That is something that is very, very important about color pencil, and that is pressure. You have to have minimal pressure. When you're going fast, you put a lot of pressure, and this is why pressure is important. And this is because we are talking in here about Prismacolor color pencils, and Prismacolor color pencils are made with wax. And the problem that people experience is the wax. The buildup of the wax causes a resistance and does not allow any more application of pencil. But there are several ways to fix that, and we're gonna talk about that later on. But right now we're talking about the pressure. If you want to know how much pressure you need, you're going to sharpen your pencil the most you can, and then you're going to put your hand and you're going to start coloring in your hand and see how much pressure you're putting. If you're putting a lot of pressure, you're going to hurt your hand. You have to feel like you're tickling your hand, almost, barely touching it. And for that, if you go fast, you're going to put a lot of pressure. Also, where you hold your pencil is important. If you are a person that hold your pencil very close to the tip, you're going to use a lot of pressure. If you want to lift up the pressure, you can hold your pencil. Let me put a pencil instead of a pen. You're going to hold the pencil farther away, and you're going to lose the control over the pencil. And we need very, very sharp points, and for that I mean these are the points that I like to use. Put it over black. See how sharp? That's what I like to use. I like to use very sharp points. And this is because when you have sharp points, it will put less pressure on your surface, and I'm going to tell you why. Most of the surface that I work for pencils are the ones that have some kind of texture, so that the pencil can grab to that texture. For example, some surfaces, and these are the ones that I like. I like pastel board, because pastel board is a sanded support surface, and it has some texture, and you can put many, many layers of pencil. And I love pastel board because it's on a hard surface. The thing is that when you want to glue something to another, I like, if I'm gluing it to some surface, I like to use this, and I am using this because we are going to glue, and I'm going to show you later when it's done, but we're gluing this on top of this beautiful paper, and that's why we need it to have to be able to glue it. You can glue pastel board, but it's a little bit heavier and it might not hold as well as this paper. This paper is called Colourfix, and it has texture like the pastel board. It has some texture, and It's also a sanded support surface. There are others. It's also a sanded support surface. There is one called U-Art. It's also a sanded support surface, but it only comes in one color. Colourfix comes in many colors. Okay, if you don't want to have that much texture, you can use Tonehenge. It's one of the favorites by many artists. Or you can use one that has, it's a watercolor. Let's see if I can find the name. Fabriano Artistico, 100 pounds, 140 pounds, hot press, extra hot press. And this is a watercolor paper. And I've only used this one once, and it was because I wanted to have watercolors on my background. With the pastel board, you can use acrylics. And with the pastel board and the Colourfix, I can use Gamsol with its mineral spirits. It's very good for blending color pencils and eliminating the component of wax. Okay, so going back to, you need to have a sharp point. And you need to have this sharp point because the paper that you're going to use is going to have some texture. And this is the texture of that paper. And if the point is dull, it's going to make pressure. It's not going to go inside. It's going to make pressure on the top sections of the texture of the paper, and it's going to build up the wax. So if your pencil is sharp, it will be able to go inside and build up the layers of pencils. I normally hold the pencil at a 45-degree angle. Unless I need to go inside one of the crevices, then I go to a 90-degree angle. And I also like to pivot. That's why I put pivot in here. I like to pivot my pencil because once the point is over here first. This is the point. But once you start wearing your pencil, it depends how you wear it. You may have the point in here, or if you did it the other way, the point may be in here. So if you pivot, see, when it start wearing down the pencil, it forms a point in another place. This is point. Or it was in here, or now it's in here. So if you pivot like that, if you slightly turn your pencil, you're going to be able to use as much of the point as you can before sharpening your pencil. For the surfaces that I use, the thing that I like to use for cleaning is the poster tack, Poster Beauty. That's why I put it in here, Poster Beauty, Poster Tack. And it will lift any unwanted residue, or it may be used to clean some areas that you want to clean, and it removes the pencils. You see in here, I always have a piece of scrap paper that I like to use to check how the colors will look on my piece. You see how beautiful they're gonna look. And the most important thing is perseverance. Practice, 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 and perseverance. The more you do it, the more you're gonna know how to do it. Color pencils are transparent, so they mix with each other. So if you want something to be white, it has to be put white alone. Once you put another color with white, like for example pink, it's no longer gonna be white. It's gonna be pink plus white. So I think I gave you a review of some of the most important things, and now we're gonna paint. So I'm gonna go now to the brightest areas, and I think I'm putting let's see, salmon plus neon orange. So I'm sharpening the neon orange and the salmon Something I like to do is have like a brush on my over my next to my sharpener and do this so that I don't bring any residue to my area after I sharpen a color pencil. And also I use that brush to remove particles. This is called a hake brush. I'm gonna take my picture and I'm gonna put it in a place where I can see it. And I want to go to the brightest areas, and somehow the brightest areas are in here. This area. So I'm gonna start with here, and I'm gonna blend in here with this color, and I'm gonna go around this, and I'm gonna go back to my previous color and give it a second coat. And I don't want that to look so white. So white. Okay, so I'm gonna take jasmine and put jasmine in there. And I'm gonna start blending it with the salmon pink. Still looking too white. So I may even go with this same color, the neon, in there. I'm gonna put this neon up to here. I'm going circular motion, and I want to go to another color, more red. Let's see, let's use permanent red. So I'm gonna go to permanent red in there, because we don't want this to turn to it's a red rose. Gonna go to that line. Sometimes you have to go at a 90-degree angle to go on top of a line. And I'm going to blend this color with the neon. And I think I'm gonna go all the way to the jasmine. Let's see, maybe the green. Hard because you have that black and it's hard to work with the black, so you have to go, this is the permanent red. I'm probably gonna go and blend all that with poppy red. Finding that poppy red. And pale vermilion. I want to have some areas darker. This is Crimson Lake, darkening the tip. And in here, I'm gonna put this Crimson Lake in here. And let's put the jasmine in here. Okay, so we are going to put the black grape in here. I'm gonna blend that with the Crimson Lake. This is very dark in here, so let's put the Crimson Lake in there, and then we can put another darker color. Let's see, I'm gonna blend that with the neon in there. Take some of that poppy red and put it in here. Need to have a lighter border. This is salmon. Starting in here, you're gonna have a lighter border in here. And I'm gonna take the permanent red and go on the outside edge of that border. This gets very, very dark in here, so I'm gonna use the black grape on top of that other color in here. And I think I'm gonna use the black I'm gonna use the black in here. There. And then I'm gonna use salmon pink in here. And I'm gonna blend that and also in here the salmon pink. This is the permanent red. And blending with the cream so we don't have a line anywhere. We want to keep that highlight in there. We cannot lose this highlighting here. There's a tiny highlight in here. But we have to put, let's see, this is the lake, Crimson Lake, because the highlight is there, but it's very, very small. This area is darker and more into the brown area, so I'm gonna put light umber in here. I'm gonna put light umber in here, and then I can put the red on top. See, this is poppy red. I'm gonna blend that with the poppy red and salmon. I think it was salmon that was in there. Salmon and poppy red. This is the salmon, and I'm gonna blend that with the light umber. Salmon and light umber and poppy red. And instead of taking tons of pictures, I'm sorry, but since this has videos, and it will be easier for me if I don't stop that much, I'm gonna continue, and I tried to take some videos from the some photos from the video, but I'm not gonna stop so many times to take photos. That was salmon pink, and this is poppy red, and I'm trying to blend that in there. Put a tiny bit of poppy red on top, but still you wanna see some of that brown, the salmon, and we're gonna put a darker brown. Let's put sepia. And this is sepia. This area is more into the shade. Okay, I'm gonna start with sepia in here. This is a very dark cat shadow, and it's even darker in this section in there, because always cat shadows are always darker. This is black next to the area that casts the shadows, so let's put black in there, and blend with the sepia in there. Then we have light next to that. This is the salmon pink. You have light next to that cast shadow. Salmon pink. And let's go to the poppy red. Oh, permanent red, sorry. I meant to say poppy red and I took permanent red. So let's find the poppy red. Poppy red. And we can put the permanent on top. Poppy red, I'm gonna mix with that salmon. And let's put poppy red on top of the salmon too. And then we have that permanent red, which is more red than the poppy red. Go over that line. Let's start shading that with the Crimson Lake. Let's take the excess. Let's go over this. It looks too white. I'm gonna go over with the jasmine. And the salmon. And let's take some of that light umber in here. And some of that salmon in here. Go back to the light umber in there. And the salmon. I'm gonna take the poppy red on top of that. And then the sepia, very strong in here, the sepia. Okay, we're gonna continue. Let's take this one next to there, in there. And that one has, I'm gonna stop for a second. Okay, let's start with the neon orange in here. Up to that line that you have in there. And up to here. And doing lines because I like textures on my flowers. So if you see that I am doing lines like that, it's because I want to have some texture like this up and down, up and down, up and down. That one has a very dark end. So let's start with, go on top of that with a poppy red. Poppy red. Let's take the poppy red and go over this so that we can find this petal. But then it turns very dark, so I'm going to use the Crimson Lake for the dark section. I'm looking at this in here and I don't like it. I'm gonna go over with the jasmine and then poppy red. Okay, poppy red and crimson permanent red. You get confused with picking it up. So this is poppy red. And then we have to put darker underneath. Let's go to the black grape, which is the darkest that we have in here. And blend with the Crimson Lake. We did not finish this one. So let's finish that one with salmon first and then permanent red. But all the way down. And then in there start very dark. Let's go to Crimson Lake. And we can darken with the black grape. Okay, that one is finished then. Let's go to Crimson Lake. Is gonna go in here. Let's give it a tiny there point. Crimson Lake. Crimson Lake. And then just blend that with the poppy red. This poppy red. follow the I'm gonna go to the salmon in here. Continue with the poppy red. Gonna blend with the purple vermilion in here. We need a darker color at the top. Let's start with the, I think we put Crimson Lake already, so we're gonna put Black Grape. In there. And in the cornering here. In there. Let's blend with the poppy red. As poppy red. On the bottom section in here. And then there's a very dark section underneath. Let's put first the Crimson Lake, then the Black Grape. We can even put black in there. Let's put a tiny bit of black. Okay, so this is the, how do you call the sand? No, jasmine. Jasmine. And poppy red. I want to bring a color that we really look a tiny bit yellowish. Let me bring it. Okay, this is Spanish orange. Putting Spanish orange in here. Because there's some places that look lighter and some that look more into the, like for example, it looks white in here, but in the section it doesn't look as white. So here Spanish orange, so we're gonna tint a tiny bit some areas with the Spanish orange. I think that's what I needed. So cream in here. Tiny section in there that is almost like white. Let's blend with the Spanish orange. Let's take, this is the poppy red and crimson lake. And black grape. Just reduce that a tiny bit in there with the permanent red. Another coat of color is always good, so that you don't have that much background showing. Even in the dark sections, we can always put the dark again. You can reduce all that background showing. Let's go to the poppy red and put another coat of poppy red. See up to where that petal goes. There's another one in there. I think I left an area. Let's put it with Crimson Lake. There's oops, this is not, let's go to the black grape. There's that very dark section in here. And then this one, it's probably red. Because there's another petal in here. Maybe coming from this one. But can extend this dark in here a tiny bit like this, and then in here This is black grape. Let's put Crimson Lake in here so we don't lose that section in there. And we're not gonna do that yet. We are putting, let's do this section in here. Let's start with the poppy red. And we don't want to combine these two, so we have to make this one lighter. So let's take the pale vermilion over this one. And let's take that Spanish orange. And maybe a tiny bit of the salmon. The cream. So that we can take poppy red and see, have to be even brighter. This is pale vermilion. Just bring that brightness up to the here. There, and blend with the salmon. The decisions that you have to take when you're painting. Sometimes you cannot even follow the photo because you want to have more drama in your paintings, and sometimes you know, the photo is just as reference. If you wanted it to be exactly like the photo, just use the photo, but you want to make this even prettier than the photo. So this, now we can go to the poppy red in here, and it's not going to, we're not going to lose it. Very close, but we're not going to lose it. And it is up to here because there's a highlight in there, and there's a dark section in between the two in here. But this is lighter in here. This is the salmon. And I'm gonna highlight this section. I'm gonna put red on top, but I wanna highlight. And it's in the salmon, I don't want it as light as the cream. The same in here. I'm gonna use the salmon in here. But I want to put some light umber in that one. It's up to where you have the line. When I give you lines like that, it's because they are to guide you up to where to put the colors. That's why you have some lines inside of your pattern. We're going to put some light umber in there. Well, we don't want to forget. So let's do it right away, and then we know that light umber goes in there. Let's stop it for a second because I want to have short clips that I can edit.